And probably moving over to a lot of worse teams here with the NFC East. We got the Giants and Eagles, which is a battle of one-win teams, but both these teams are one game or less out of the division lead here in the NFC East. The Giants did get their first win against the Washington football team, but they still look very, very shaky. And again, the Eagles hit with the injury bug with Carson Wentz. And again, what happened with Dak Prescott, definitely prayers up to him. And hopefully he gets better as soon as possible. But the Cowboys now riding with Andy Dalton. It's really just almost a mess there. I mean, I don't know. I feel like really overall, my feelings about this NFC East is they're just kind of stealing a playoff spot from a really strong NFC in my mind.
I mean, this division has a combined 5 wins, and we're in week 7. That's painful. That's painful to look at. I mean, the Steelers and Titans are playing. It's this week, I believe, and both teams have 5 wins in total. That's just to put in perspective how bad this division is right now. And we have Eagles-Giants tomorrow night in a matchup where the winner is going to be in first place in the division, and both teams have 1 win right now, and we're in week 7. That's a joke. That's like a legitimate joke. Like you don't see that. I mean, and like these teams are so bad, man. Like I can't believe the Giants found a way to win last week. The Washington football team starting Kyle Allen, who is terrible. Let's just be honest. I think he's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen.
What they're doing with Dwayne Haskins, I think.
Criminal. Oh my God. You know what? Let's go there for a second because now I'm a little riled up. What the Washington football team is doing with Dwayne Haskins is worse than what the Jets are managing to do with Sam Darnold. And I mean that completely. And Sam Darnold has the worst coach in the history of professional sports as his head coach right now. And the Washington football team is still managing to do worse. How is that possible? I mean, they've basically benched him. They've completely disregarded him from the offense. He didn't even suit up last week. And I don't think he's suited up the last 2 weeks. I mean, this is terrible. And instead, they're going with guys with Alex Smith, who Alex Smith is a terrific story. I love the determination of Alex Smith. The E60 on him is a must watch. It's a gruesome watch, but it's a must watch. And what he's overcome is incredible. But the fact that they're choosing to roll with Alex Smith, who barely has a leg right now, and that, again, this is nothing against Alex Smith, but the fact that they're choosing this guy who's not a future for this franchise, and Kyle Allen, who sucked last year in Carolina, over a guy named Dwayne Haskins, who you drafted in the first round 2 years ago, and was a guy who's supposed to be the future of this franchise, especially when he came in last year and was actually all right. It's a joke. It's a real joke. I can't believe it. Yeah. I can, because it's Washington, and they are just the definition of incompetence. But
I can believe it. I mean, you got Dan Schneider as the owner. I mean, I completely believe it. And look, they're only 1 game out of the division lead.
Yeah, and that's how bad this
crazy.
is. That's how bad this division is. I mean, listen, if the Eagles don't win this division, they should fire the entire coaching staff. I could not be more serious about that. You look around this division, you should clearly have the best quarterback in Carson Wentz right now. And he hasn't been great by all means, but without Dak Prescott, he's still the best quarterback in this division by default, essentially. You have pretty decent, I'm not saying weapons around him, but you have Miles Sanders, who I think is probably the most underrated running back in the game right now. You have Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, which might be the best tight end tandem in the league. And listen, outside of that, you got injuries all over the place. But this is still, like, you look at the roster, they're still clearly the most talented team in this division.
Yeah, I mean, they're the best team right now. And I think they'll probably end up like 8-8, 7-9, or I think they have a tie. So 8-7-1, whatever it ends up being. And that will probably get it done. But I mean, to me, it's just criminal because, I mean, as you were saying, I mean, now you're going to look around the NFC, which I think all of the other divisions are pretty solid. And now one of those teams are going to miss out on a playoff spot to a team maybe under 500. I mean, it's crazy.
It's terrible. It's really terrible. I mean, oh, man.
It's bad.
I mean, like, you might as well just stack these teams along with the Vikings and just put them in football purgatory for the rest of the year and say, you guys can play each other, but just get them out of the league. Put the Jets with them too, honestly. Like, funnel all these terrible teams out of the league for this year and just say they don't belong. And it mostly belongs to the NFC East, obviously, because of what they do. But, I mean, how bad is Dallas too? Like, this is a team that
they're supposed to be good. Too.
Like, they were supposed to be, and obviously the stuff with Dak stinks.
Yeah,
like, that is terrible, and you can't predict that. But even before this, like, this team looked pretty terrible. Like, they come out every game, and they're just giving away 21 points each game. The Zeke fumble issues are a serious problem going forward for me. And, I mean, we saw what happened on Monday night. I was a believer in Andy Dalton after what he did against the Giants, and he looked out. Well, he came and looked like Andy Dalton. Actually, that's probably the best way to put it. So
it shows you how bad the Giants are.
Good Lord, man. I mean, the Giants managed to make Andy Dalton look like a competent NFL quarterback for a few minutes there. But this is the worst. This Thursday night matchup is the worst matchup for two first place teams. Like a team that
battling for first place,
going for first place I ever seen. And I don't think I'll ever see anything worse than it, to be quite honest with you.